And what I told the team was, I don't think we started the game very well, but I thought we figured it out slowly and surely and chipped in to the lead, and we started to play really good basketball. And I thought for 30 minutes after the first 5, I thought we played really, really good Baylor basketball. 20 assists on 26 turnovers, or 20 assists on 26 made baskets is really, really good, and it's who we are. And when we're at our best, we're sharing it and moving it. And, then the last 5 minutes, I felt like we got outplayed because they knew what they were doing, and we didn't stick with what got us back in the game, and then, kind of in that competitive situation. We were attacking the rim. We were rolling behind them. Bugs was shooting layups. Caitlin got layups and ones. And then when they kind of got really good at playing downhill late, they were living in the lane and made wide open threes and layups. And we took 3 straight jump shots, contested long 2s or a 3. And that we shot ourselves in the foot. That was the difference in the game. We couldn't recover from those 3 straight possessions where we didn't get a paint touch and move the basketball. So I thought that was the difference in the game. I thought Jones was fantastic in the 4th quarter. I thought Emily Ryan did a great job of playing downhill. She just wouldn't stop going downhill late, and that was the difference for them.
All right, we have mics. We'll pass around. If you have questions for the student athletes, please state your name and affiliation.
Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. Caitlin, you guys had a lot of, like Coach said, y'all had a lot of success in that give and go. Was that something from the very beginning, or is that something y'all kind of figured out as you went along that would work on, the passes from either Sarah or Jana or whoever it was?
It's not anything new. We practice it all week. We practice it before we played them all 3 times that we've played them. Especially the way, you can't really go under a ball screen with Sarah or a handoff. It's really difficult because of the way that she can shoot and the way that she can attack. So obviously we worked on it all week. I think we executed for the most part until, like Coach Nikki said, we started settling and they weren't.
Do we have any other questions for the 2 student athletes?
Bugs, I guess just talk about, because I know you were on her some, y'all were switching and stuff, but Ashley Jones, how difficult a matchup is she? Because, obviously she can shoot the 3, but she's also very good inside too.
It's a tough assignment because she can't shoot, and then she can also play downhill. I think just the toughest thing was when she does attack downhill, she plays underneath. So just being disciplined and you have to stay down, that was probably the hardest thing, but also knowing when and when not to help on her because she does have that 3. So.
All right, if we don't have any other questions, we'll go ahead and let Dariana and Caitlin head back to the locker room. Any questions for Coach? Go ahead and raise your hand. We'll go 2nd row on Coach's left.
Yeah, Coach, it just seems like you've been up against it with a lot of things, with injuries, with everything. I know this is a tough loss, but are you proud of the way they've developed and kind of fought through everything this year?
Yeah. How good is Bugs? She just never quits playing. She's I don't think there's a matchup that she has where someone doesn't have 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds on her. But she's relentless on the glass. She knows what she's good at, and she goes and does it. There's just a workman-like approach. She wants to win. Kind of a cool thing. Nobody knows, but she was a state champion in Oklahoma last year. First kid I've ever seen defend in the McDonald's All-American game. And she had 2 teammates on her high school team. One was freshman of the year in the WAC at Stephen F., and one was freshman of the year at Texas Southern. That's 3 winners. That's, they aren't all Power 5 kids, but she's a winner. She is absolutely a winner. And she just never quits. And She never shows frustration. She has it. But she just keeps clipping along. Like, she never misses a shot and doesn't run back on defense. You know, like those things that you got to coach out of young kids. You don't have to coach that out of her. You know, she's going to develop her perimeter game even more. We're not done. I'm not planning on being done, but her future is so bright. And probably the least shocking thing was her being unanimous freshman of the year. I think Bella is going to have the versatility to play more three and be a post-up three. And, you know, we were thwarted by injuries all year relative to her being able to do that. But I think she's tough. She didn't make the three today, but she's capable of making the three. So I think those two are really good long-term, 3-4 instead of 4-5. But we just didn't have a choice this year. And you know, even Kyla for us, Abraham, I think her minutes against Texas were really good. It was just a tough matchup for her. That's just Texas, you know where their bigs are going to be. They're going to be around the rim. And Iowa State, they're everything but around the rim. So, yeah, I'm proud of how we battle, no matter the environment, whether we've won 4 in a row or lost 3 in a row. I think they believe they're going to win. I think we have to get better at truly understanding why we succeed. Like, I think the difference between us and Iowa State is that I know Ryan and Donarski are only juniors, but they're like 7th-year juniors because of how many minutes they've played, because they've been starters since they were freshmen, and I'm sure people will feel that way about Bugs and Bella, you know, after they've been in the league a couple years. But Jones she's relentless, and they just were better at what they do late in the game than we were at what we did to be there. You know, they didn't ever blink and say, I got to make a play right now. They just kept doing what they had done, you know, for the 35 minutes before then. And we took 3 straight jump shots. And I'm not saying we aren't capable of making them, but that's not what put us in position to be in a tie game, to be down 1 possession. So, yeah, I'm proud of them. We haven't really quit against anybody, and we haven't played really poorly since we were at Oklahoma State and Kansas State. I don't think we showed up, but every other game, you know, we've competed.
It seemed like Jana changed the game in the first half, and you got her back in there in the second half. How nice was that to see? Yeah,
it was. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for our team. 7 assists and 1 turnover is pretty dang good. She even had some plays that we didn't make baskets on that I thought were really, really good decisions. You know, Bill may say otherwise, but you know, they've pretty much played us the same way for 3 games, and they guard Jamie and Sarah really, really hard. Pretty much like a triangle on 2. They switch on our other 3, and they stay pretty attached. Donarski stays attached to Sarah, and Fritz stays attached to Jamie. But they play the rest of our kids really, really soft. And I thought one of the advantages Jana had tonight, not to take away from how well she played, was they just played her really soft. They didn't get up in pressure. They didn't get in her face. So they made the decisions easier to see. And I thought she made the right decisions, which was awesome. Her slip passes were good. Throwing a bounce pass, when to throw a chest pass, when to throw. She just did a fantastic job of delivering the ball. She put the ball on the baseline a couple times and found Bugs at the high post. Like, just never seemed rattled. Now, some of that I think was, you know, they weren't on her hip. They weren't, you know, really pressuring her. They jumped her the last game we played them. So, you know, today I'm like, hey, when it's Jana to start, we're going to DHO everything so they can't jump out and trap the ball screen. And so that got her comfortable, I think, by us kind of getting in dribble handoffs with her to start. And so, but it was great. You know, I think the only thing that I think Jana's capable of doing that she's just really struggled to do this season is make open shots. She's a really, really good shooter. and she got a couple wide open looks, and but I thought she did a really good job of not trying to do too much, I mean, and she just was real simple, and simple is good. Simple is really good.
Is there any way to wall off Ashley when she starts like burrowing down there and getting that kind of position?
It's really hard. I think she's a really hard to guard. I think she's also really, really hard to officiate, because there's so much contact, and she's trying to get under your armpit, and at times we've been really, really effective doubling her on her spins, and at times we were tonight. I mean, she's turned the ball over a lot against us this season. I thought where our mistakes were made were not in the lane on her, but we gave her too many threes. We just gave her too many threes. Like, we didn't close space well enough because we had help when she put the ball on the floor. But I told our freshman who guarded her the majority of the night, like, there's no help if you're playing too far off at the arc, if you don't close out. We can help you if she beats you off the bounce, but we can't help you from three. And 15 threes is way too many. And she hasn't shot it well from three the last two games against us. And she didn't start the game necessarily, but she finished the game really well from three.
Nikki, right over here, Parker Ream, Fox 44 in Waco. A lot of positives in this game, and I'm sorry, I just got in, so if you answered this already.
It's all right.
Go ahead. A lot of positives up until those two dagger threes that Ashley hit. What are you going to take away from this game heading into the NCAA tournament, and what are those positives that are going to kind of transition over there?
When we moved the ball and the ball didn't stick, and we got it moving side to side and shifted the D, we got about anything we wanted. And I think when you get in those late game situations and you're in 1 and 2 possession games, that's when you got to be even more focused on getting to really good shots. We were in the bonus, and we were taking jump shots. Like, we just have to understand that's the time. They were not going to be denied a piece of the paint down the stretch. Like, those threes happened because they got a piece of the paint. Now, I think Morgan Kane lived in the paint for about 12 seconds on most possessions. But I think that they were living in the paint, and then it was the kickback threes. And I just feel like that's what they do. They force you to help in, and they kick it out. They're not a team that just passes and cuts and shoots threes. Like, they attack. They attack your closeouts. I thought Emily Ryan was a huge difference maker tonight. Getting to the foul line, playing downhill. It was the one challenge for Jana when I had her in, was she just is outmatched physically, length and size-wise against her. And I don't have much that I can bring in big, and so to change that can keep the ball pressure on her, but then can also, kind of wall up and make her miss around the rim. And when we have to over-rotate, now we're in a scramble situation, and now they're gonna probably get an open three.
Yeah, Coach. Chad Vothreen, KWTX Waco. It seemed like Jaden in the first half was like almost on her way to a career game, and then just kind of went quiet in the second half. But at the same time, you got to probably think you could maybe keep her in your back pocket and just kind of get that out of her once the tournament comes around. Some other play that she had in the first half.
Yeah, I thought her shots were super rhythmic in the first half. They were on an extra pass. They were piece of the paint, kick out, +1. I was talking about it before. Like, they dare her to shoot. It's how they play. It's how they play everyone. It's not us. It's, they're going to look at your analytics and say, shooter, non-shooter, driver right, sit on her right hand. They sit on Caitlin's right hand. They play in off of Bugs. I mean, Zingaro played about 14 feet off of Bugs, when she was guarding her. And so they play, they're the most scout-heavy team we play all year. Like, we're similar, but we don't just, we help off people. We play tendencies. They're going to say, if you're less than a 20% three-point shooter, we're not guarding you. And we're going to play the law of averages and say, even if you make them early, like law of averages is going to figure out over a 30-game season, right? So I thought she got them rhythmically. I thought she forced some in the second half. And when she plays downhill and makes reads, and that's when Jaden's at her best. And I thought our pace was really good in the first half, and we played through the trail all night long. We lots of times play into drags and step-ups, but we wanted to move the ball. We wanted to get the ball swung immediately in transition. And I thought that was really effective because we weren't forcing her to make every early decision. We were putting it in Sarah's hands more, which is why she had 9 assists. We put it in Jana's hands. We swung it into action, and then it would come back to her. And so I thought that was really good for her as well. So I thought you saw a really, really good Jaden in the first half, and then I thought she just missed shots in the second half. I don't think she stopped playing hard. I don't think. But, I think she took really simple, easy shots in the first half.
Hi, Nikki. This is John Warner, Waco Tribune Herald. What's got to come together for you guys to advance in the NCAA tournament?
Well, I think it will start with not getting out-rebounded by 25. We've not been that bad a rebounding team this year. I think it started at the beginning. We just, they got on the boards the first 3 or 4 minutes. They had 5 or 6 early offensive rebounds. They had 6 second chance points before the first media timeout. We didn't scramble. When we rebound well, it's because Bugs is always going to rebound, but it's when our guards scrap and fight and get in there and run down long rebounds. And so we got to start there. We got to play the game that we played for 30 minutes for 40. Now, everyone's going to play us a little differently. We may play a team that zones us, and then we've got to be good. We haven't played against a team that's zoned us in, I don't know, maybe since Kansas State the first time we played them. But, we may play against a zone team. We may, we have to buy in that when we do what we do well, man or zone, that, we're a team that has the most success when we have balanced scoring, when we move the basketball, when we assist on the majority of our baskets. We're just not a one-on-one team, and we obviously don't have someone that we can just throw it to on the low block and let them play one-on-one. And so because of that, we need to rely on pace end-to-end, and pace sideline to sideline. And when our pace sideline to sideline was really good, we were really hard to guard tonight. And when our pace wasn't good, which I thought was to begin the game, then we're a lot easier to guard. But we just have to scrap. We're not very big, and we're not very deep, and we just have to scrap. And we're beat up, but so is everybody else this time of year. And certainly there are teams like OU that play 10 players, but the majority of teams out there play 6 or 7, sometimes 8 players. So we're playing 7 consistently, and I thought I did a pretty good job of rotating and keeping people a little fresher tonight. But, when it's win or go home, you can't be tired. I mean, this is an off season to rest. So, we can't act tired, that's for sure.